Well, today marks 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine. Let's take a look at what's happened so far.
So on this day last year, Russia's president launched the invasion in late March after claiming control of several cities. Moscow said it would withdraw from Kyiv and focus on the industrial area of Donbass.
And in mid-April, another blow for Russian forces when its flagship was hit by Ukrainian missiles and sank. May 16th, the final group of Ukrainians defending a steel mill, a stronghold in Mariupol, agreed to surrender. And 2 days later, Finland and Sweden applied to join NATO. The BBC reports the invasion caused a long-standing sense of stability in Northern Europe to fall, leaving Sweden and Finland feeling vulnerable.
At the end of June, another win for Ukraine when Russian troops retreated from Snake Island in July after a series of negotiations. A deal reached to unblock grain supplies in Ukraine, which threatened a large portion of the world's food.
And in August, a Russian airbase in Crimea is hit. Ukraine would later claim responsibility. In late September, Putin ordered 300,000 reservists be mobilized. The AP reports this move was wildly unpopular and resulted in thousands of Russian men fleeing to neighboring countries. Putin also staged what the UN would call illegal referendums to annex parts of Ukraine.
In October and November, more setbacks for Russia when a bridge linking Crimea to Russia is destroyed. Then Russia pulls back from Kherson in late December. Ukraine's president visits the U.S. and gives a speech to Congress. On January 14th, Russia's strikes target energy facilities and kill 45 people. Fast forward to February 20th when President Biden made a surprise visit to Ukraine. Russia's invasion sparked the biggest and fastest mass exodus since World War II. U.S. officials estimate the number of refugees to be between 15 and 30 million. 86% of them are women and children.
The United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner says more than 7,000 civilians have died and nearly 12,000 have been injured. The UN says, however, the real number could be higher.
The number of military casualties is harder to figure out. Senior U.S. officials believe Russia lost close to 200,000 troops. Ukraine's losses could be as high as 120,000. That's the thing here. Ukraine can and will rebuild, but those lives cannot be brought back. That's the sentiment by the Ukrainian American Society of Texas, founded in '83. I spoke with its founding member. She puts it in perspective this way. Think of Ukraine as being just about the size of Texas. If you look at the map, you'll see it. Another thing she mentions, every part of this country has been hit by a missile. On this 1 year mark, what's on your mind?
I'm concerned, obviously, because Putin has not succeeded in taking Ukraine. Putin has not achieved his military goals, as he says. So, will he escalate?
Now imagine watching your home get destroyed on TV. Places you once visited are no longer there. One woman who lives on the island has experienced that. She is Ukrainian and has been in the U.S. for decades. She sat down and talked to me about how she's feeling 1 year after the invasion. Memories of a country Ellen Morell once called home, now a war-torn country fighting for their freedom.
I was waking up and not being sure if that was a dream.
Just like thousands of Ukrainians, Ellen thought she would wake up to see her country at peace once more.
Nobody believed the scale of war.
Ellen grew up in Zaporizhia, a city that has been bombarded by Russian forces. The city also has a major nuclear power plant in the area that has been fought for between the Russians and the Ukrainians. Ellen has been in the United States now for about 20 years. Her husband, Mike Morell, says that this brings back memories as a kid during the Cold War.
Here it is again. Russia started a land war in Europe. This is what grandparents and parents prepared for. So I'm really hoping that our generation can stand strong and rise to the challenge. I think what's being asked of us is a lot less than what was being asked of them.
Ellen's father fled to Ukraine and headed to Germany, where it was much easier to assimilate. While she still has family and friends in the area, she says Ukraine has put up a fight and will continue to do so.
Ukrainian flag is not only standing, but because countries invited Ukrainians in and Ukrainians came and integrated and learned languages, it's like the country grew.
At the end of the day, Ellen says Ukraine has already won.
Ukraine is victorious already. And no matter what the war consequence is gonna be, It's already done.
There you heard it. It's already done. Ukraine has won no matter what. Ellen and Mike have been looking into helping Ukrainians and possibly housing refugees.
As the number of refugees grows, families are opening their hearts and homes with help from a nonprofit called Welcome.us. I spoke with its president, who tells me Americans are helping Ukrainians get away from the Russian invasion through sponsorship.
We immediately wanted to make sure the sisters and their children had a safe place to live after fleeing Ukraine, a place where the children could continue their education and the family was secure from threat.
That is Elizabeth Langland. She lives in Florida and sponsored a Ukrainian family. She helped the children get in school and their mothers get jobs. More than 150,000 Americans have applied to sponsor Ukrainian refugees. Welcome.us takes those applications online. And Ukrainians in the coastal bend come together to remind everyone about the struggles of people in the Eastern European nation. This rally happened a week ago. Organizers say it was all about showing support that it still exists for Ukraine. Some of the people here tell us they do have family and friends over there living in worsening conditions.
Well, most refugees are pouring into neighboring Poland. There, donations are gathered and handed out by humanitarian groups. Uniters. It was founded by Victoria Baltrin and her mom, both Ukrainians. They're already living in Poland a year ago when Russian troops invaded.
How we cannot do this, this is our country, this is where our heart belongs, and we needed to do something.
Providing basic essentials for fellow refugees is just one small part of the Uniters' mission. In the back room, volunteers tied together camouflage nets, the white-to-high tanks and missile systems in the snow, and a doctor and driver piece together medical field kits so they can take them to the front lines. Uniters have also delivered boots, backpacks, even drones to Ukrainian soldiers. Now, 1 year on, the war continues despite predictions of an early Russian victory.
So as spring nears, there's growing fear of what could come next. Amanda Sansoni is in Washington with a look at where this conflict is headed.
1 year ago, Russia launched a full-scale invasion into Ukraine with the goal of toppling Kyiv and seizing the country.
We assumed that it would quickly take over the country and that the Ukrainian military would quickly fall apart.
Yet Ukraine continues to defy expectations.
Ukraine is alive and kicking.
The losses immeasurable, thousands killed, millions forced from their homes, while some cities have been virtually wiped off the map. Russian troops also decimated, Western officials estimating the number killed or wounded to be nearly 200,000 in what has now become a war of attrition.
This has been a failure for Putin all around.
But Russian President Vladimir Putin is not retreating. Instead, the Kremlin is conscripting more troops and telegraphing a massive spring offensive, while blaming the West for escalating the conflict.
He can't really lose a war in Ukraine that would really threaten his power at home.
The United States and NATO allies are surging weapons to the front lines to bolster Ukraine's defenses. In a visit to Kyiv, President Joe Biden warning of what a Russian victory would mean for the world.
This is so much larger than just Ukraine. It's about freedom and democracy in Europe. It's about freedom and democracy writ large.
And assuring Ukraine, despite the long, difficult road ahead, Biden says the U.S. will remain steadfast in its support until the end.
Freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for as long as it takes.
In Washington, I'm Amanda Sansoni.